So I made you wait for me this evening. How are you all? Welcome. Today I'm going to be drawing the winners from the little competition to win the for this little thing, which I made a couple of streams ago. So we've got 5 entries for those. We'll go through that in a moment. And also be talking about how to help prevent rust in your tools over the winter. Rust can come at any time of year, but I find the winter tends to be the worst, certainly in unheated spaces or spaces where you don't heat them most of the time. And then when you go into work, there you heat them up and you end up getting condensation on the really cold tools. And then you leave the place, it gets cold again, and you've got this damp on your tools and it leads to rust. So we'll go through a few of the ideas that we have for that. And hopefully you're going to be pitching in with your ideas because, to be honest, I've got a few ideas, but you may have plenty more. So I'll try and keep a watch on YouTube, on the chat channel, and see what's going on. If I can just find it. Where's the chat? So first of all, it'll be interesting to know who's here today. So if you're watching live, do stick something in the chat and I should be able to see it. Easier said than done, because at the moment I'm not seeing anything to do with the chat. Whether it's not working at the moment, I do not know. No, I can't seem to find it. Let me look somewhere else for that. So anyway, whilst I'm looking for the chat, what I'm going to do is tear off the little names of the people who have correctly answered. So I've got a list here. I shall, well, let me show you that so you can, not quite focused. We've got Stuart, someone calling themselves Captain, Andy, Tony and Christopher. So I'm going to tear those off and then we'll put those into a box and I'll pick out the winner. And whilst I'm doing that, I'm desperately trying to find the chat, because for some reason I can't see it at the moment. So number one name is Stuart. So he's going into the box, or will be in a moment. I shall show you that on the other camera. Don't want to be listening to that, do we? Alright, finally found some chat. Okay, welcome this evening to Lego Man, Woodwork Learner, Stuart. As a different Stuart to the one who's in the competition. Let's swap over to the other picture and then we should be able to see exactly what's going on. So I've got myself empty box. This will be coming up in another video at some point. So that we've got Stuart. Hope you can read that going into the box. I've got to fold that over so I can't see it. He's going in. Next one is Captain Sawdust. And whilst I'm doing this, if you want to type in your suggestions for saving stuff from going rusty, please do. So he's in the box. Next one is Andy. That's Woodwork Learner. Andy, you're with us tonight, I believe, unless there's somebody else with the same username. I perhaps should have torn these off earlier. So that's Andy going in the box. Then we have Tony. Now, after the previous stream when I demonstrated how to make the pinch sticks, that's Tony going in the box. Did anyone make any? I know Shrenik was starting to make some. Be great to know if any of you do go ahead and make some, and it'd be great to see some photos. So if you make any, and take some photos of them, you can send them to me. The email address is mail@womadod.com, and you can find that detail on my website, and also in the description to this video you'll find social media feeds where you can find me. So yeah, that's Christopher going in. That's all the names in the box. I give it a good old shake up, hold it away from me, hand in, try and find one, and the winner is Andy, Woodwork Learner. So there you go, Andy, congratulations. What I'd like you to do is, maybe in the comments to this one or the comments to the video where the challenge was, either one, if you give me part of your email address and then contact me through social media or by email if you know my email address. Because I'll have part of your email address, I'll know that it's actually you that's contacting me, and we'll arrange delivery to you. So, well done. Yeah, I thought Shrenik had started his. Excellent. Suggestion of coating tools in Alfie Shine or 3-in-1. I've not tried Alfie Shine, that's terrible of me, I know. Jim will be after me. But I've tried 3-in-1 in the past, that works perfectly well. So let me show you the sort of thing that I do. I like camellia oil. And basically with any sort of oil, what we're trying to do is cover the surface of all our tools, the steel tools. Cover that surface with a film of oil. That stops both the water getting to it and also the air getting to it. So that should stop any rusting happening. Before you do anything like that though, what I suggest is, because the natural oils and other things that we have in our fingers get on the tools, some of those can be quite corrosive. So I would take some mineral spirits, that's white spirits in the UK, clean off the tool, so get all those fingerprints off. Then take your oil, whichever it might be. Ken actually said earlier on Facebook, I think it was, that he likes camellia oil. The reason I like it is it doesn't have much of an odour at all, and also it won't stain wood if you've still got it on your tools and you're actually cutting something. So that's nice to know. So some of that on a rag, wipe it on. You're only leaving a thin film and that should be fine, and then store it somewhere where it's not going to touch other tools. So in a rack, or you can wrap it in the paper that you've got the camellia oil on if you like, just so that the tools aren't bumping against each other and knocking off the oil. Another thing that I like to do, especially if you're in an environment that does get damp, is to, once you've prepared your tools, find something that can be reasonably well sealed, like this container I've got here with chisels in. Prepare the chisels in the normal way, and then take a sachet of silica gel, silica crystals. Bung that in as well, seal it all up. And any moisture that's in there when you start out with will be absorbed by that, I forget there's a technical term for them, not quite sure what it is, but it'll be absorbed by the crystals that are in there. So you've got a very dry environment within there, and so you won't have any rust going on. So that's a good way of doing it. Let's pop over to the tool cabinet and show what I do in there. I must admit I'm very lucky because I have a workshop that's heated, and that's a good thing if you can do that. If you can heat your workshop all year round, not necessarily to working temperature, but to some sort of temperature, and especially if you've got convection going on, so the air's moving around and you're drying that air out, that's really good. Now in the tool cabinet, obviously I've got my planes mostly and some saws. Same sort of preparation on those if it was going to get damp at all. So clean them, all the fingerprints off, and oil them. And in my drawers here where I've got some spare blades, same preparation on those. You can get protective paper to wrap them in. So if you get blades that arrive to you in some protective paper, then it's a good idea to keep the spare ones wrapped up in that. Okay, let's have a quick look at the chat, see what else we've got. Any other suggestions going on? Well, apparently Alfie Shine smells nice, but that's lovely to know. Lego Man's off. Okie dokie. Hope you learnt something. No smell as good as Alfie Shine. That's really interesting to see. Okay, so I'll start at the top and see if we've got any. A nice coat of wax on saw plates. Yep, absolutely. A nice paste wax is easy to put on those. It's getting the actual coverage and making sure the whole plates get covered. Let's see what else we've got. 3 more lawyers better than WD-40. Lego Man does simple rust prevention, just oil the blade after sharpening. Use them enough that you don't get rusty. Yeah. Axminster machine wax in the workshop. Use duck oil on your tools in work, says Stuart. There's definitely something to do with the wax and the oils, all pretty much the same thing, to be honest. Covering up the surfaces and stopping the air and the moisture getting to them. Shrenick thinks camellia oil is just more expensive oil and does the same thing. Well, it certainly does the same thing. This is the only bottle, okay, you see that's the only bottle of camellia oil I've ever bought, so I use it sparingly and it seems to do the trick. Sean's saying Shrenick smells nice though. Well, that's nice. I haven't smelt Shrenick myself, but always good to know. GT85 is good if you can get it. It smells quite nice. Wipe down and dust tools regularly. Yep, that's a good one. Shrenick saying that I should build Jeffrey's heated tool cabinet. Yeah, maybe so. Another thing you can do with tool cabinets and also tool chests, if you can seal them, then if you can put some of those little sachets in there to dry out the air. That's a really good idea. You know, if you're not going to be using your tools for a long time. And what I've also heard of is people who have put fans in, so little fans, a PC fan in the tool cabinet, so you're constantly getting air moving through it. I don't know whether that's a good idea or not, to be honest. But learners say buy new ones if they rust. Yes, actually, if you've got tools you don't like, it's a very good idea to let them rust, and then there's a good excuse to get some new ones. Midnight Joker's saying neck cam. Yeah. I should get one, or it looks like one because all you can see is my neck. I don't know what that's about. Robert saying, real problem for my damp cold garage. Save all the little silica sachets I ever get. Yep. So oil and silica sachets seem to be pretty much the predominant method there. Something you can do if you're leaving your tools for a long time is to use some candle wax. So oil the tool first, then use some candle wax and drip that over the sharp edge of the tool. It protects the sharp edge, protects you if you happen to knock into it. So basically you're leaving something completely covering it, nice thick coating of wax over the working edge. But really, I think if you can keep the workshop a little bit warm, certainly not freezing, and when you go in it to work, if you dress warmer and don't raise the temperature too much, then you're not going to cause all the condensation on the tools, which is the big problem. So what I feel happens is in the cold or in an unheated workshop, it gets really cold overnight, the metal gets really cold, you go in there breathing moist air, it condenses on the tool, which is still very cold. Even if you heat the workshop when you're in there, the metal still stays very cool for a long time. So the moist atmosphere condenses on the metal. You leave the workshop, you've got the cold, well, cold doesn't really help rust, heat does, but you've got the moisture on the tool and you've got plenty of air around it and it will rust. So something a lot of people won't think about the first year that they do woodworking, but then if they've left their tools out in the garage workshop or something, when it comes to spring and they go back to use them, they find them all covered in rust. And the next year, if they carry on woodworking, they certainly try and do something about it. So there's a few tips from me, a few tips from yourselves. I think that's been really useful. We've got our winner for the pinch sticks, who's Andy. I've seen the message from him in the chat there, so I shall look out for that. And hopefully see you next time for something else. Not quite sure what the next one's going to be. I might be making a panel gauge. That was one of the suggestions. So looking forward to doing whatever it is. So you take care. I'll see you next time. Cheerio.